Hey everyone, welcome back to Sacramento Real Estate Analytics. We're going to do something a little different here today. Today we're going to talk about job market shifts across greater Sacramento. So layoffs, closures, and a few hiring signals too. So we'll cover what's happening in places like Sacramento proper, Elk Grove, Folsom, Davis, El Dorado Hills, and surrounding suburbs, including some recent announcements you may not have heard yet. I wanted to report on this because the local economy can obviously have a big impact on the direction of our real estate market here in Sacramento, and layoffs is a big part of that. So we'll talk about layoffs first, but we're also going to talk about some growth we're seeing in the region a little bit later in the video. So if it sounds a little bleak right off the bat, don't worry, it'll get better as we keep talking. And by the way, when I say greater Sacramento, I'm referring to Sacramento County plus nearby hubs like Elk Grove, Folsom, Rancho Cordova, Rockland and Roseville, which are in Placer County, El Dorado Hills, which is in El Dorado County, and Davis, which is in Yolo County. So if you live or work in one of those zones, this video is for you. So for starters, this is my list for the latest layoff and closure developments. So number one is Educational Testing Service, or ETS. So I got to admit, I've lived in Sacramento for a long time, Folsom now, but I've also lived in Midtown, Sacramento, and in Rockland as well. And I had never heard of this company, but ETS is a nonprofit for administering standardized tests, and they're laying off 757 California-based workers by year end, per their regulatory filing. Many of the impacted positions are tied to its Sacramento operations, even though much of their work is remote. So the data isn't totally clear how many of those layoffs actually will impact Sacramento, but some of them do. So these cuts are part of ETS ending its constructed response scoring services for several state programs. So if you work in the world of testing and scoring and test prep support around Sacramento, this is, it's a big local cut for them. Overall in the economy, I don't see this one as, hugely impactful though. The second one is Blue Diamond Growers in Midtown Sacramento. Back in June, Blue Diamond announced that their Midtown Sacramento processing plant, which, by the way, is on a 53-acre campus in Midtown. I looked up where this was after the announcement because I couldn't for the life of me think of a business that had a 53-acre campus in Midtown, but sure enough, there is one in the northern part of Midtown. And like I said before, I lived in Midtown for a period of time, and I still didn't know where this was. But anyhow, they will phase out manufacturing here and relocate production to the Turlock-Salida area. So approximately 600 jobs will be impacted. While this is not brand new, this remains one of the largest local announcements in 2025 and is still unfolding. Number 3 is Intel in Folsom. Earlier this year, Intel reported layoffs at its Folsom campus, including a figure of about 174 affected roles as part of a larger cost-cutting effort. While the original disclosures were mid-year, this still resonates for the local job market and tech hardware. As I was researching this one, I actually feel pretty positively about how many tech companies have a presence in Folsom now. Micron has a big office. PowerSchool has their headquarters here. Qualcomm just put in a little office last year. I came across an AI chip startup, which I thought was interesting. So while there's layoffs, there definitely seems to be growth in other areas of the tech sector. Number 4 is the U.S. Foods warehouse in West Sacramento. So in February, U.S. Foods published a WARN notice, W-A-R-N, that its West Sacramento distribution center will close this month, affecting 118 workers at their facility that's on Mulvaney Place as operations shift out of state. Number 5 is around education services in Elk Grove and Sac City Unified. So a provider for K through 12 support roles named Point Quest filed notice for layoffs for 166 behavioral aides beginning November 22nd after losing a contract with those two school districts. So 66 of those aides are tied to Elk Grove, and the remaining 100 are tied to Sacramento City. So in my opinion, none of these are really that impactful at this stage. So now let's shift and look at a few positive notes where hiring or future job pipelines are active. So first up is Amazon. They announced over 2,000 local roles in the Sacramento region for the 2025 holiday season as part of a national 250,000 person hiring effort. Apple continues to post roles in its Elk Grove, Sacramento metro zone for jobs like AppleCare, operations, and others. Blue Shield of California has local postings remaining in El Dorado Hills and Rancho Cordova, despite some broader cost pressures that they're seeing. The Rancho Cordova City Center project is approved for a mixed-use development. This project's anchored by a 7,500-seat arena and is expected to bring future service, venue, and operations jobs when it gets ramped up. And then in Folsom, there's also a ton of medical industry build-out going on, either in process or kind of in the planning phase right now that hasn't really hit the hiring news yet, but it's there in the pipeline in kind of different ways. So near Bidwell and 50, there's a Sutter campus going in that looks to be very sizable right next to the Palladio. UC Davis just completed a big building nearby. Kaiser owns a bunch of land on the other side of the Palladio. This is kind of like the Highway 50 and Bidwell kind of general area. So supposedly that Kaiser building's going in at some point, though I have heard that that's been kind of in the works for a while now. So the exact timing's not really known. I've heard Mercy also has a new campus they're planning on putting in, but I don't know the details on that yet. So, all of that would likely drive pretty high income, new job creation at some point. Those are jobs with incomes that can't afford the home prices in places like, Folsom and El Dorado Hills. So if you know any more information on Kaiser or Mercy and their plans in Folsom, please leave a comment in the comment section below. Would love to get any updates on that from folks involved in it. So lots of positive hiring and approved projects amidst the recent layoff news. Now, if you want to monitor unfolding job market changes, it's actually pretty easy to do. You can check out the California Empowerment Development Department, or EDD. They have the WARN database, that's capital WARN. It lists employer names, addresses, job counts, and effective dates. You can filter by county like Sacramento, Placer, El Dorado, or Yolo, and see local filings. And as of January 1st of next year, 2026, there's new legislation from SB 617 that's going to require more detailed information in those filings. So we might get some richer data coming out of those notices. So to recap, the latest major layoffs, we've got ETS cutting 757 jobs California-wide. Again, only some of those are going to be tied to Sacramento, so don't let the 757 scare you too much. Blue Diamond's going to cut 600 jobs at their Midtown plant. Intel Folsom, kind of continues down the path of what they were doing when they had a figure in the kind of 1 to 200 range. U.S. Foods Warehouse is cutting 118 jobs in West Sacramento, and then Point Quest losing 166 aides in Elk Grove and Sac City. So hiring and growth to watch. We've got the huge spike from Amazon's seasonal efforts. We've got Apple's Elk Grove recruiting, Blue Shield's local roles, and this Rancho Cordova Arena project pipeline, plus all this new medical on the horizon in Folsom. And then finally, the tools I mentioned earlier, we have the WARN filings on the EDD site where you can leverage county filters, things like that. So, bottom line, the region continues to see job loss announcements and things like manufacturing and distribution and support services, but there's really good hiring signals too. And it's great to see, some tech coming into the area, some more medical coming into the area. So if you or someone works in these areas, please leave a comment below. Would love to get your take. So thanks for tuning in, to everybody in Sacramento, Elk Grove, Folsom, Davis, El Dorado Hills, and surrounding suburbs. I hope this update gave you some clarity on what's happening in the local job market. If you've made it this far in the video, I want to congratulate you on actually caring about the local economy, because I try to make these kind of full of important local data, not really like Instagram or TikTok. So I appreciate you tuning in. If you found this useful, hit the like button, subscribe. Feel free to share it with your friends, and we'll catch you next time.